Hey all, Sam here. Welcome to another episode of Parker's Reef. Thanks for following along. Apologies for the lack of videos the last couple of weeks. Things have been pretty hectic in my life, both with work. I'm chasing promotion, with personal / family life, just sorting out a couple of slight emergencies there, and also of course with my reef tank. I unfortunately lost my favorite fish, which is nothing too crazy rare, but this is a fish I always really liked. It was my blonde lipstick tang. It was really fat and healthy, and ironically you say fat and healthy, but it was eating well. And nice long streamers, no dominance or aggression in the tank, but unfortunately lost it. So I've been scratching my head with that. But anyway, with all this chaos going on, it made me realize how grateful and thankful I am for a couple of tips and tricks I've learned along the way to make reef keeping a bit easier. And that then was like a light bulb in my head, and I thought, why not share those tips and tricks in a quick little video just to keep this YouTube channel ticking along. So without further ado, let's move on to my 5 favorite tips outside of automatic water changes, which if you haven't seen, I've done a whole video on that. I'll put a link to that in the description of this one. But outside of that, because that is by far my biggest tip and trick, I've got 5 little things for you here today. So let's start off. Number 1, this little vial here, it doesn't have to be, this one's from Aquaforest, but it doesn't have to be from Aquaforest. It is a reference solution. I cannot tell you how handy these things are. The number of times we're testing parameters in tanks and we start questioning ourselves whether it's our test method, whether the test kit's gone off, whether, I don't know, whether the moon's got weird gravitational force or something. But the moment you start second guessing your testing is the moment you start second guessing everything, particularly if you're fortunate like I do, and I've got some automated testers doing alkalinity on a couple of my tanks. The moment I don't trust that is the moment that my whole tank starts to collapse. So really cool feature with the Aquaforest test kits is they include some reference solution. Depending on the kit you buy, they'll do different things. The alkalinity one looks like it just does alkalinity, but it's so handy to have a solution that tells you that if you test this and it's ICP verified, this solution will give you an alkalinity of 7.3 DKH with a plus or minus of 1%. Like, that's accurate. That's so much more accurate than I could ever wish for. So it doesn't matter what test kit you're using, whether it's I use the KH Guardians, I can use this solution, I can use the Aquaforest test kit, I can use a Salifit test kit, I can use an API test kit, doesn't matter. It just gives me that little piece. It's just one less question mark. This is a known quantity. I can always test against this and be happy. So that's solution number 1, or tip number 1, I should say. It is a solution, but tip number 1 is a reference solution. Try to have one for each of your major test kits: alk, magnesium, calcium, and even salinity. These ones will do a salinity as well, which, yeah, obviously salt content's one of our most important things. Okay, tip number 2, Taylor Speed Stir. There's other ones on the market. This is just Taylor brand. If you're wondering what on earth this white plastic thing I'm holding up is, I'll give you a bit of footage of it while I explain it. It sounds ridiculous, but until you use one, you'll never appreciate how good they are. All it is a little magnetic stir bar that swirls your solution for you while you're testing it. It makes it so much easier with these tritation-based test kits to see when we're looking for a color change and you're trying to really slowly put in little drops at a time of the reagent solution, waiting to see when it goes from blue to pink or pink to green or whatever the color change is. These things are just golden. It's so much easier. You can just use both hands to focus on with your reagent syringe, and you can just focus on putting drop by drop at a time in, waiting for that color change. The other benefit for people with terrible eyesight like myself, these have a little LED built in them, which you can see lights up there, which lights up your solution, always using the same amount of light, so you always get a consistent reading. Yeah, it just makes seeing that color change significantly easier when you have a particular colorblind situation like I do. That makes a massive difference. So whether it be the Taylor Speed Stir or some other, I know I'm pretty sure Vertex make one, and there's a couple of other like DIY solutions on the market. They sound like, for lack of better words, a bit of a wank, but to be honest, they are so handy. For the price, I think they go for about $50, $60 maybe. You forget the price after one test using it. Well worth it, so check them out. All right, Tip number 3. These things, I think they're called adjustable pipettes. They look like you're about to inseminate a cow. You probably could use it for that, but maybe don't. Definitely not on my advice. What these are, they're basically a syringe that you can change how much it collects. This one I use is a Joan Lab. There's different brands. I picked it up off eBay. You might be able to find a medical supply store near you. I don't know where you live, but eBay or online is probably going to be your best bet. I use these things for so many things, whether it be grabbing a set amount of water to do a test, or to put a set amount of a trace element, or lanthanum, or an amino acid, or something that you're putting in or out of your tank and you want a precise amount. These things, I'll try and get you some footage of it. Basically, you can adjust on the side here. They come in different ranges. This one here is a 0.1 of a milliliter to a 1 milliliter variant, so you can dial in exactly how much you want. So if you want to put in 0.123 milliliters of a particular trace element each day, you dial that in there, you press the button, it draws out exactly that amount, you put it into your tank. It just doesn't get easier. Personally, I hate counting drops. I've got a young daughter, I've got bloody cats and dogs and bark and stuff. I get up to drop 12 and then the doorbell goes and I forget where I'm at. Where this thing is just in, out, done. Can't get it wrong, and it's consistent. These things are like used for the medical industry. They're super precise. I've got a 0.1 to 1 mil and a 2 mil to 10 mil. They're just quick, accurate. They cost like $50. Another one that seems like something you don't really need until you use it. I recommend checking them out. They're awesome. All right, next tip for you out there. This one's a lot cheaper. You'll pick these up for like $1 off eBay. Is a massive syringe. This is a 100 mil syringe. I know your test kits normally come with something like this one, which is like 2 or 3 mil. These 100 mil syringes are just so handy. If you need to rinse something out, if you need get a big sample of water, or if I'm testing water at a friend's tank, I can just draw a massive amount out, and it saves me moving from their bench back to their tank constantly over and over again. Or if also handy, like if you've dipped a coral and you're trying to just squirt around it, you can use a turkey baster, or you can use this and push around it. It's difficult to explain the number of uses these things have until you have one hanging around your tank. In my fish room, I've got a little hook that this just hangs off. It's amazing how often I use it just by having it around. I got it for a good friend Biggles. I had it for maybe 6 months sitting in a cupboard and never used it, and then by chance I had it out on my fish room bench, and then like I used it 5 times a day every day. So check them out. My last tip and trick is, this one looks a bit agricultural, but it's just made life a lot easier for me. This is a little homemade frag bench, table, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, when I'm doing a frag session, maybe of like the big Dallas coral behind me or something there, I can prep out all my tiles, have them on here, can have a bit of space between them, I can have them all together. Whatever I want to do, normally I'll have some water in my syringe ready to go, I'll have my coral glue ready to go, I've got a heap of tiles pre-dipped and soaked so all the air bubbles out of them. I can put the glue on them in advance if I want. Just something to hold a number of tiles there ready to go. I don't know about you, but I always think that I'm going to take about 2 or 3 frags at a time, and I end up doing about 20 to 25. So having something set up when you've got super glue and palitoxin and scalpels and all sorts of dangerous things around, having just a little bit of order in the process is really handy. So you can make this out of, this is a bit of off-cut acrylic with some holes drilled in it and a couple of little legs put on the side. You can make it out of an ice cream container if you want, or drill holes in the lid of your frag plug holder or something, I don't know. But just having something to space out your frag plugs ready to go. You can do all the gluing first, you can just, it gives them somewhere to dry. Then if I wanted to, I can take this whole thing while I've got the Zoas or Dallas on there and sit the whole thing in my tank so that they can cure in there. It saves handling little individual tiles at a time and bumping them, getting glue on your fingers and then rubbing your eye, and then you're in the emergency room. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit dramatic now, but you get the idea. Yeah, if you do much fragging, set yourself up with something like that, and it will hopefully save you a trip to the hospital. Thanks for watching. I've got a heap more videos to come. I've got some product reviews to do. I've got an event coming up. I've got some more photography sessions coming up. If there's anything particularly you're curious on seeing or would like more reviews on or more information on, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Or more than happy to try and cater to what you guys out there want to see. So just let me know, and thanks for watching. Thanks. Bye.